All right, here is the energy market like crude. Of course, we are looking at cycle analysis. I'm going to be reiterating this a lot as I really want to focus on the three major components of our analysis that the sum of the evidence is built on. And that is, of course, cycle analysis, where we examine the rhythms of the market, the momentum conditions, which affect the cycle analysis greatly because that is essentially your directional component and shows you the money flows in the market. So when you have strong money flows, the cycles configure positively. When you have negative money flows, the cycles configure in a downward fashion. And the indicators we use help you a lot with that. And then there's the important levels that we look at and how that particular symbol acts around the important levels. A good example right over here is where there was support in light crude and an expected bottoming occurring right here, and then an upturn in momentum right there, and that all establishes this rising phase that we're in. Also, the configuration of cycles, as you see this one right over here, very clearly bullish as it comes up towards that 78.6%. And then we use the swing high, swing low analysis to give us the support area. And when you have a positively configured pattern in both time frames, you end up with buy zones. In other words, if it pulled back into there, it would be a high probability that that would be alongside entry. The reverse of that would be a sell zone, of course. Let's blow up this light crude market. And you can see the cyclical patterns in here. You'll note that the steepest decline right in here was the time when there were two cycles nesting, coming down together. I'm going to go back to the side-by-side for a second because this is important. Where these two cycles nested here, this cycle right there and the bigger one here, it also nested with the short-term pattern right over there on the daily chart. This is the principle of synchronicity at work. Now, if you have taken our cycle analysis workshop, go back and review that. The 8 principles of cycle analysis. Principle of synchronicity is one of them, and that's what we look for. So when you see us projecting important bottoms on the intermediate pattern, we will be looking for how that aligns with important bottoms on the shorter term patterns here. And we will often, if the shorter term pattern is lining up differently, we'll adjust where we think the low will be over there on the weekly pattern because the principle of synchronicity says they will bottom together. So that's just an important lesson for today. And I'm sure I'm going to give you more important lessons for today. So anyway, we are now in the rising phase in all three of the cycles I just showed you on that daily chart, and here on the intermediate and dominant cycle that we're looking at right over here, all rising. The probability of getting to a new high when you're under those conditions is very high. It's better than 70%, and you can see us moving up that way. Now, the market is accelerating to the upside right now. Good gain of about 3% in light crude today, and that's on the numbers that came out on inventories and the anticipated demand. Very strong. Also, the hurricane, which took a lot of supply offline in the Gulf Coast. And that's all pushing it up a lot. And natural gas is really benefiting from all of this, exploding to higher highs than we even expected. So we've upgraded that also. So here's your rising phase. You can see we're 4 weeks into this rising phase, which is very early in this structure right over here. So the probability of this turning down, being a bear market, breaking these lows to the downside, is extremely low. I mean, over the next month or two, it's probably less than 10%. So that gives you a 90% probability in my mind versus a 10% probability of taking out the highs versus coming and taking out these lows. So it's a very strong structure that we're looking at. Were there to be pullbacks, that would be buying opportunities. And here on the daily chart, we show you how that looks. What happened here is there was a buy zone because the swing high, swing low analysis was from this low to this peak, and it established this area over here. Well, you can see it could barely get down to it before accelerating up again. Then we take the new level from this low to this peak and establish the next rising zone, rising buy zone actually, which you can see now comes into this area right over here. But look at the configuration of this cycle. Look what's happening here on momentum conditions. The momentum condition here now turning positive. This is the slim ribbon PO, which is your signal line on the slim ribbon, which is right in here. So this is a very positive structure, everything we're looking at. And while there is resistances right here, so this is the 78.6% from this peak, and this is the cycle peak right over here from this cycle. So this is an area where you'd expect it to stall. That's in this area of 73.40 to 74.40. So it's in that dollar range. You'd expect that to stall. This buy zone is rising the higher this gets. And if you get this pullback in this next, this is really about 1.5 weeks, say 1 to 2 weeks, that would be an area that you would look to enter on the long side. If you were long, you would look at that area to add on the long side, though we like to look for proof before we make the add. We don't want to buy it on the way down. We want to buy it on the way up when there's a reversal in here that we have some indication of where the bottom would be. In the meantime, it's still rising, so we don't really know where this buy zone is going to end up because you could get at higher prices. And remember that this is the configuration, being that it's going to bottom likely, very likely, much higher than it began. That means the next rally is likely to take you above whatever this peak is here by about 70% or more. So the percentages are just based on the cycle configurations and translations. This cycle is already translating on the right side. In other words, here's your ideal peak right here, and here it's already going to make a peak way on the right side. When you get a peak on the left side and translate on the left side, and of course when you break the cycle low, you get declining phases, as you see right over there. Here it's on the right side, so you don't have that much time to fall, and then you get some big upside. So there's another cycle lesson for you right there on the translations and how that increases the probabilities of what it means for the following cycle, which is something that we have shown many times here in the short term in the stock market. So that's a look at light crude. I'm going to go much faster now as we look at the rest of the energies, kind of do my teaching in that first part. And here you can see that the gasoline market, we had talked about the fact that this was actually very weak, and the roll got this knocked down over here. And the high probability this was going to turn up back into this area. That's why we left all the white space there. And that's now, as you can see, rising in there. I assume this is all going to resolve itself in a positively translated cycle, and then we will see it moving up to new highs. Here's your daily, your weekly over here. The bottoming comes as all of these cycles, remember the principle of synchronicity. 1, 2, 3 cycles bottoming here. That means you would get a bottom in this area here. On the daily chart, all of the cycles have to bottom together at key nested areas, and that is what you had going on right here. So now we're moving up there, and the period of downside risk, of course, is over because we're now in this rising phase, and the probability of taking out the high over there, about the 235 area, is very high. So it's not probably going to happen in this daily cycle, but this one over here, which is probably a little bit negative, too negative, then it would probably look something like this, and then get into the next rising phase, and this one probably takes you to new highs there. The only way that that changes is if you break the cycle supports down over here, and that would then give you a warning that something is very different on the intermediate. I want you to note, while light crude has turned up on the momentum, gasoline has not. In this case, the gasoline, which has been in negative momentum in the short term, has now neutralized. So gasoline is a little weaker than the oil market when you see that. When we look at heating oil, you'll see the same pattern basically, except that it's much stronger in that you have the upward turn in momentum here. You're already threatening the highs. There are likely higher highs coming in here. You could see the fib extensions. This is 230 right there. This is about 241 right there, and it's very likely getting up to those levels. As a matter of fact, when you look at this daily chart right here, there was a likely decline coming right over here, but it didn't decline, right? You haven't really had that yet. This is really early for that. You're probably going to get a minor pullback in here and then spiking up again. So I have to redo this chart because I didn't notice when I did the work that it had spiked up before that this morning. I redid these last night and then reviewed them this morning before the opening, so I didn't actually see that, so I have to fix that. /NG, which is your natural gas market, this one moving up extraordinarily. We have to raise up the projections when we see this as it continues up. We thought that the target was at around 5.25. It got up well beyond that. This peak over here about 5, what was that high? That high was 565. So you have tremendous strength in there. The low where these all came down over here together right there came early, and you can see that right there. And we put a note in there. Let me just blow that up so you can see it, that it was a possible intermediate low. So we spotted that was where that came. Momentum stayed very strong. Now, the market has to tell you if it's going to turn weak again, and it will do that on these daily charts. Look at the momentum in here. Now, I want you to note, one of the ways that you use the slim ribbon PO is you get all these signals. It signals you that the upward momentum is continuing. You can see that right there. And then when you went into this correction, it neutralized. Look what's happening here. It is so strong, and the slim ribbon is widening so fast that it can't fall enough even to give you those signals. It needs to get under the 25 right there, and it hasn't been able to do that. It's immense strength. Now, another thing to note in here is that what happens is that the buyers keep coming, the shorts keep coming, and they keep pushing it up. But then when it reached this level right over here of that fib extension, you're getting a shooting start today. What that says to you is that it's exhausted right now. So if that's the case, then you might have 2 weeks of pullback or correction in here, but then the odds are pretty good that it's going to be moving up again after that, because you see where those cycles lows come in right over there. When this pulls back over this next 2 weeks, you'll still be in this rising phase over here. So you could pop up into the 6s in that next rally or in that next harmonic family that you see right there. So that's a look at a very strong energy sector. The gasoline market is the weakest of them. Natural gas is by far the strongest, though light crude is very strong. When you look at that, and all very much in line with the work that we have showed you over these past weeks. This is our level 4 special trial. This is for first-time subscribers and upgrades. What level 4 gets, and this is really an advanced level, is our annotated charts. That's our entire focused list live on your Thinkorswim platform. If you are not a Thinkorswim member, you can go to our site and you can open an account there, and then that would be great because we get credit for that. So Thinkorswim, TD Ameritrade is our preferred broker, and we'd love you to open up an account there to get our annotated charts. This is all of our analysis. On top of that, you get our proprietary studies, our option bias indicator, the market condition indicator, and you're going to get the grids that we have with 4 different time frames with our indicators on there. It's just incredible. You will also get the archive with all of our grids, with our trade ideas that include the slim ribbon PO, the reversal scout. Nobody else has these. These are our proprietary indicators that keep you on the right side of the market and give you an understanding of the market that it's really hard to get with any other combination of studies. You will love this. You'll get our free live events, webinars, trade planning services, best practices for utilizing AskSlim custom charts and studies. And you'll get our full membership access to everything in level 3, 2, and 1. There is too much for me to tell you about there. You can go to the website and see everything that is included. This is a special 3-month trial. Level 4, 35% off for quarterly. That are normally we're at $159 a month, but you can have it for $101.25 a month for signing up for 3 months for level 4. All of this, these live charts, absolutely great. And there is one more thing that's really important. Our level 4 plus is a little bit different. This is again for first-time subs and upgrades, and we only have 10 spots available. Last time we did this, you have to get on a waiting list, and we had a huge waiting list, and we filled up in a couple of days. So we now have gotten better at it. We have these spots that have opened up, and we are going to take 10 more people. So what you get are custom chart requests. Everything that we showed you in level 4, you get, but you'll be able to ask us for our cycle analysis on any 2 symbols per week of your choice. You'll get the AskSlim daily and weekly charts to open up on your Thinkorswim platform, and you'll be able to see these specific symbols that you have interested in that we have provided to you that has our cycle analysis, timing, key levels, projections, all of that. And you get access to the full archive of all the requests of all of the level 4 plus members. So we get tons of those every day, and we post them and we share that analysis. It is one of the greatest resources of analysis that you will ever see. There's like 5 or 10 new ones up there a day. It's just crazy how much information this is. And you get our exclusive trader support from the AskSlim analytical team. That's Matt, Harvey, and I. We have, I have 47 years of experience in this. These other 2 guys are incredibly skilled. You can ask general questions around trading issues, trade planning, and chart analysis. And you get the full access to everything in level 4, 3, 2, and 1. This is normally $239 a month because you're getting our one-on-one help, and that's why we have to limit it to the number of people that we take, and we only have these 10 spots available now. So that the special price on that now is $465. That's only $155 a month. Imagine paying an analyst, somebody who you had that type of access to. With our experience, you could never get it for this price. So it's you can only use this special one time. $465 for 3 months, $155 a month is what that comes out to. You must reserve your spot because it's going to be first come, first serve, and I'm telling you it's going to fill up quickly. So write to matt@askslim.com. If you're not a TOS user, you don't have a TDA Ameritrade account, then please do open one up through our site. Just a little example right over here. This is what a custom chart looks like. Somebody requested that, so this just recently got posted up on our site for the level 4 plus members. This is on target. You get the weekly analysis, and you can see the dominant cycle, the minor cycles, the important support areas. We talk about the configuration of the cycles, projections, the momentum indicator that's in there, and you can see in here in target, this is pointing to a correction coming in the next month. But this is a bullish pattern and then likely moving up again. Here you could see on the minor cycle on the daily, momentum has turned negative. The slim ribbon PO giving negative signals. So negative momentum here, likely decline over here in target. And this point shows you where the next date is, where there's an alignment between the daily chart and the weekly chart. Nested area right over there. This goes out here another 3-4 weeks. And that will likely be a point where you could start looking at the support zone and where to buy it. This is a just unbelievably great way for you to get a feel for stocks that you probably will have never had before, and ETFs and futures. We do it all. We look at 24 plus different futures contracts and market indexes, plus well over 400 stocks. Plus, we'll bring in anyone that you ask us for that we can do this kind of analysis. So this is that great example of that. Please do go to AskSlim.com, get yourself on this waiting list, reserve your spot for this level 4 or level 4 plus, or you could just sign up for level 4 right now. And you won't have the one-on-one custom support from the team, but you'll get everything else also. And again, there's great charts that you see right over there.